Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. So on May 2019, after my second retreat, I entered stream entry, which is the first level or stage of awakening. It was only about 1% of what I'm experiencing right now, moment to moment. By that time, I was done. I found what I was looking for. I was happy. The Franken character was content with stream entry for the rest of his life. But as the old text says, even if you don't like it, if you don't want it, after stream entry, the stream will carry you all the way until the final fruition. Use one metaphor to describe quote-unquote enlightenment or awakening or whatever bullshit word that you want to dub to this natural state. That's why it feels like somebody shot you in the head. You die for a second, the death is equivalent to the state of nirvana. So at first, you are a person, a Mitsu, and then your sense of identity is this little person inside the head of the Mitsu, and you're just walking around the world. And then you perceive yourself as this avatar. Take a look at this clip right here. Franken character here, even though this is 2 months before his quote-unquote final awakening on May 25th, 2020, he's still struggling to find words to describe awakening. You start to flip yourself inside out. Because he's still speaking from inside the meat suit, from vantage point in the center. But then there's still a little speck there in the center. An atom is 99.99999% empty space. You go through a threshold where when you reach singularity. After the final awakening, after his state is stabilized, coming completely from different place, different plane, from beyond the mind. Fascinating, isn't it? Fascinating. After you access all the outer states of consciousness, they're all still part of the mind, still part of the dreamy mind. They're all fabricated. God mind needs the God mind itself to see that even the God mind is empty. And I'm going to get to it later, but emptiness is not what you think it is. When I perceive the world, it's a 360 degrees, boundless, infinite hologram. Perceiving itself. It's locked in. One practical tip for those of you who are asking yourself what you are, finding out what you are at the deepest level, spirituality 101. Okay, you're not the body, you're not the mind. Oh, I'm awareness. I am loving awareness. Nope, don't get stuck there. That's because they probably don't have a cessation. Even infinite consciousness, the universe that you found to be the ground of being that's eternal, shuts down, disappears, you disappear, reappears. Okay, even consciousness is impermanent, unsatisfactory. I'm God, I'm the Godhead. Nope. Don't want to get stuck. Shifting, always changing, always changing, always changing. You're dissolving from solidity, not just your body and mind, the entire world, at least your direct experience of it, from solidity to liquid, to clouds of sensation, to air, then to emptiness. You gotta go beyond Bruce Lee's be like water. Why? Because if there's water, there's liquid, there's still gonna be room for impermanence and process and time and space for things then some kairos and pain and suffering to rise and pass into. And again, you're not imagining this. When you become air and emptiness, it's non-rising, non-passing. So it's not like you enter this emptiness and you just kind of like, oh, you're airhead, you're kind of like airy, ephemeral. There's that, but at the same time, it's like solid as a rock, stable as a diamond. So if you're completely embodied and grounded, but at the same time, like the clouds and everything else between. So you also feel very elastic and bouncy. So it's almost like all the stages from before combine into one, and then you have the reflexivity to shift back and forth or experience 2 states, 3 states, infinite states simultaneously. That's balance, that's symmetry. Even air is not the right metaphor, because in my field of experience, there's not even a single particle of gap of air pocket. Maybe it is the case that enlightenment is nothing more than a perfect symmetrical state of mind, or no mind. And this emptiness is not a substrate, it's not a background or a foreground. It's not light, is not consciousness, it's not awareness. You can't find it because it's kind of like trying to look for your eyeballs. It is said to be non-existent. That is why it manifests the entire universe. And everything is it, but not it. It's both and neither.
Come on, Barbie, let's go party.
And this last speck of solidity, of separation, even if it's the size of an atom, there's still going to be a distinction between inside and outside, between perceived and perceived. And there's going to be suffering. There's going to be dark night of the soul. After every speck is dissolved, there's not even going to be the sense of a witness or an observer or God Maya, Brahman. Everything that you experience and realize on the spiritual path, including the power of now, being, jhana, samadhis, are transcendent. You go beyond the beyond, transcend the transcendence. But at the same time, because you can disappear into the warm blanket of the universe, you can experience all the spiritual states or non-spiritual states, both the mundane and the divine, simultaneously and fully. Just a few days before Big Bang, the Franken character was still dark nighting like crazy, and last Kundalini down low. The two go together. One is the spiritual high, one is the spiritual low. But you need to have a fruition, a succession, the highest non-state of meditation, where your entire reality disappears and then reappears. See, I had thousands and thousands of successions or nibbanas, which means that I died thousands of times. I've eradicated suffering and you can do the same, but that wasn't my goal. I just want to fuck the universe while having the universe fuck me. And this Dark Night of the Soul video is also the last video that comes from Frankian's mind.
Every day I wake up in the morning, I feel like shit, you know what?
The day before I was gonna go back to Taiwan with my ex-girlfriend, I went to work out with Connor Murphy. And she left me in the middle of the workout. So I went back to Taiwan by myself, and a day later my grandfather passed away, and those two events triggered my max effort Dark Night, which followed by Kundalini Awakening. And almost exactly a year later, Connor Murphy had his own Dark Night, and this girl who I met at the LA Fit Expo was a shaman who dishes out ayahuasca, which is the substance that apparently Connor, to see God, let me stay in her house because I didn't have a place to stay, and she had me pack, gave me her suitcase, and sent me to the airport. And during the 2 weeks of this max effort Dark Night when I was in Taiwan, while preparing my grandfather's funeral, my current girlfriend, who has the same name as my ex-girlfriend, walked me out of the Dark Night before I even met her.
If you can get through this.
She's been through this, she's already in non-duality, she was born an awakened being. Fucked up, but running coma of consciousness. And I met her on Instagram after seeing her leave me a message on my post, and her profile picture was Natalie Portman. And me and my ex enacted a scene from Closer, which Natalie Portman starred in. Did you come?
Did you come?
Twice. Why is the sex so
Because
I'm a fucking caveman!
It tastes like you.
And that was the first video that my current girlfriend saw. And the second video that she saw from me was the breakup video of my ex-girlfriend Vida, who went to my first retreat with me, which had my first glimpse of infinity, and my first Dark Night followed that. And Vida, which we broke up because I met my ex-girlfriend, also on Tinder. And the last time that I saw Vida was when I went to Toronto, Canada to visit Selena, who
Putting yourself in a situation
which led to my Dark Night of the Soul. That was medium-sized. The breakthrough of that trip is something I can access naturally now. And while in Canada, I had to cry to Elena for comfort. And right before my awakening, I told the Asian Elena that I was going through Kundalini Awakening. I don't even know what Kundalini was. I didn't even care about Kundalini. I didn't want Kundalini because I was afraid. My ego was afraid that I was going to explode. And it just happened. It's a divine accident. I just kind of intuitively know. And then I emailed the white Elena and told her that. And then it exploded the minute I sent her the email. The irony, the synchronicity, cosmic joke. What's my quote-unquote final awakening that I keep talking about on May 25th, 2020? The Big Bang to absolute infinity. That's extension or expansion. And what's the big crunch that I've been talking about for the last couple of videos since my last retreat? The big crunch to absolute nothingness. If you can experience both sides of those extreme, the quantum level of not even nothing and the cosmic level of quote-unquote God consciousness, then all the stages in between can be experienced simultaneously. Totality of being.
We're going to have total confidence in that we kind of lose the compassion for all sentient beings, but rather we
Every particle in this field contains the whole. It's like totally aware and awake. The future and the past, even the now, are all condensed into the singularity. Literally every nano corner of this, not even room, extends outward infinitely. It's me and you. Like, how did I even believe that I was this little thing in here? Frank Yang thing. This is fucked up. This is so fucking crazy. Like, there's no mind, but then words are just empty too. This makes LSD, DMT even seem like baby. It's not an experience. It transcends experiences. The whole universe eating itself through and through, like a cosmic snake, one of those symbols, you know, biting its own tail, strange looping to infinity. See, we're condensing infinity into finite forms to pretend we're separate selves. But the two are actually the same because form and emptiness are the same. Just different waves in the same ocean. The absolute is the relative. Buddha mind and Christ consciousness are shapeshifters. What's up, brah?
Infinite, bro.
Infinite, brah! It was like, okay, this is the day I got enlightened. And I was like, really? Is that really like an on-off switch? When I look out to the world, it doesn't feel like it's me looking out to the world. Like my eyes aren't looking anymore. It doesn't feel like I'm hearing through my ear. There's ultimately just one sense door, quote unquote God sense door, and it just perceiving itself. Difference between the full thing and 99% is like quantum. Okay, if I can sum up the entire path, it could be like this. Before it was like the meditator here, pay attention to the breath. That's one sensation, and this is a delay. Meditator, breaths, object, subject. The breath first, okay, now body sensations, now thoughts, sight, sound, that's just noting, right? And then you keep noting faster and faster and faster. Over years and years of practice, there's gonna be a moment where everything just syncs up as one. That's like a reality syncs up to itself. The zero syncs up to zero. At that point, there's nowhere to go. You can't get any more infinite than infinite. Like, there's no level to this from this perspective. I opened up my third eye and I'm seeing the wisdom eye. As you can see, because of the virus and the protests, all this crazy shit that's been going on in the world, a lot of people are actually waking up. Of course, if you wake up, other the particle in that part of the universe is gonna boom, wake up too. Space and time is not the fundamental structure of reality. Oh, it's not even conscious. I don't know anything. I don't know what I'm talking about. All I know is right here. Every particle is totally empty and full simultaneously. And just there's no end to this. It's perfect. Perfection. Perfection. Perfection.
In this episode, I'm joined by Frank Yang, who on May 25th, 2020, declared himself to be an Arhat, the highest level of enlightenment of Theravada Buddhism.
What do you mean by that, the collective dark night? You're attempting to convey some of the perceptual experiences you're having through the editing style.
The fitness phase and the meditation phase actually felt more similar than the philosophy. Not just reading about it. It's like you're flexing the world, the universe. Fuck, do I really want to see the sun all the time? I want to go back to the cave, you know?
Yeah, but it kind of destroys all your beliefs at once.
Exactly.
And I think you even said something like that, where it's like your level of consciousness depends on your ability to work with polarities, right? Or paradox.
So you gotta call or email from a neuroscientist or a physicist and a mathematician. They want to scan my brain and see what's going on in my brain. And disoriented lately.
Just can't stop once you enter the rabbit hole.
And when I came here, there was already no meditator. There's just the universe meditating to itself. And now, during awakening is the merging of the two. I am the universe. After awakening, both the subject and the object vanish. So the sky right now is closer than your breath is to your nose. From the character's perspective, it's completely seamless hole with no gap at all, not even a particle of gap in my field of experience. It's every sensation, sight, sound, thought, body, emotions, the world are quote unquote in the same non-location, neither arising nor passing away. See, I was able to have a classic Buddha awakening experience because I was contemplating on dependent origination, his last insight. See, every object or phenomenon is dependent on arising through infinite webs of conditionings that are connected to infinite other webs of conditionings. See, nothing has an inherent existence apart from its relations, and everything links back onto itself in a circular loop. See, even the links are empty, even dependent origination is empty. So if we can just penetrate and vipassanalyze through one single sensation, then the whole universe becomes empty. Suffering is dependent on craving. And craving is dependent on the object of craving. An object is dependent on perception, and perception is dependent on consciousness. All these phenomena arise through, with, and as each other. Nirvana is samkara. Ta-da! See, if everything is fabricated, then nothing is fabricated.
Everything's just like, I was like, holy shit, everything's like becoming just sensation. It's like, there's no...
Oh shit, dude.
I was starting to lose the boundary and stuff. Yeah.
That's cool, man. You should keep doing that on the next one.
On the inside,
yeah. Yeah, because you know how I said, everything's fabrication, not just the body, not just the materiality of the body, even the image, the perception of the body is a fabrication, right? So I was scanning and I was like, why am I scanning my body when it's a fabrication? So I started going from like the quote unquote source, even though the source is also a fabrication. So I started going in from the inside and I was like doing like reverse vipassana. So that's one of the things that I was focusing on, even with like everything else, like noting like sounds and sights. If you try to go do the same thing as you were doing body scanning from the inside out, you can actually really perceive like how every moment is being fabricated, But when you do vipassana from the outside, I think that's the form of emptiness thing. Now you were kind of playing with emptiness to form, right? So when we do a form to emptiness, that's just like, oh, I'm supposing there's a form here for me to scan this way. That's an imagination, right? So you actually just dissolving your own imagination. But when you go from emptiness to form, then you can really start to see it from the other side. But at the end of the day, it's the same thing. But then when you
this doesn't make so much more sense.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
And from that point, it was just like, I mean, for like 30 minutes, I was like just like holding on, trying to hold myself stable and shit. I was just like, and then the only thing I can think of to say is contact awareness, but this huge fucking field.
So can you describe the feel? What you said was like everywhere. What does that mean?
It's just like everything.
So phenomena, perceptions, awareness, consciousness, form, nothingness, they're all depending, originated from each other, all the same. All empty. Even emptiness is empty. Remember that. So oneness is dependent on rising through separateness. When you stay on the ground, whether that's oneness, whether that's, duality, nobody's here, there's no one here, no ego, no self. Again, it's neither fill in the blank, nor not fill in the blank. Neither self nor not self. Neither free will nor not free will. See, quantum physicists will tell you that reality is both neither wave or a particle. Schrödinger's cat is neither dead nor alive, and all is co-participatory and co-created through the observer's effect. But you don't even need to read physics or know that you have a brain even, because you become it. You are it right now. What makes good designs? Physique, poetry, music, art, film, symmetry, aesthetic. See, it's kind of like those graphs. You see those graphs where one point connects to every other point on the circle, and then any other point connects to any other points in the circle. And each point is also connected to itself. That's the most important part. Each point, there's no point, there's no particle, by the way. All those are just metaphors.